The story begins with a carriage racing down the road, shaking violently as it speeds forward. Suddenly, a massive boar and a bear-like beast appear, charging straight toward it. Inside the rushing carriage, fear spreads as the princess and her guards struggle to endure the pursuit. The beasts close in, shaking the vehicle violently. The princess screams as danger draws near, while elsewhere, a knight readies his weapon and steps forward. A young man surveys the distant scene, noticing the carriage under attack. With weapon in hand, he realizes the people are in serious trouble and prepares to intervene. The carriage crashes violently, throwing its passengers to the ground. The princess and her guards struggle, injured and desperate, as a pack of demonic beasts closes in around them. A beast leaps forward, jaws wide open, ready to strike the princess. She stares in terror, frozen in the moment. From a distance, the young man takes aim through his scope, locking onto the attacking monsters. Memories surface of a divine encounter where, upon his death, he was granted a unique weapon, unlike any in this world. Instead of a sword or spear, he chose a rifle, his personal weapon, now in his hands as he prepares to fire. The rifle roars, striking the beast with precision and dropping it instantly. Watching the result, the young man acknowledges the weapon's power and feels content with the gift he received. The young man calmly reloads and takes aim once more. A massive boar beast readies itself, gripping an axe as if to block the next shot. Yet, the marksman strikes down another target first, proving his deadly precision and control of the battle. After defeating the beasts, he receives points as a reward, which can be used to craft special bullets. While the princess rests from her injuries, he begins preparing new ammunition. A girl, planning elemental rounds like fire and thunder to face future threats. The princess regains consciousness, relieved to see her companion still alive. Though shaken, she assures him she is fine. As she turns, her eyes fall on the mysterious young man who saved them, and she demands to know his identity. Still shaken, the princess mistakes her savior for an enemy conspirator sent by her uncle. Believing he has ulterior motives, she defiantly declares that neither she nor her father will allow such schemes to succeed, vowing to resist by any means necessary. Realizing her mistake, the princess apologizes deeply for accusing him. The young man brushes it off, understanding her confusion after such chaos. As the carriage continues its journey, even her guard admits fault, acknowledging the savior's role while the princess remains flustered with guilt. During the ride, the young man introduces himself as Athal, describing himself simply as a traveler. The princess reveals her name as Ashna and introduces her butler, Gilles. Though grateful for his help, Athal questions why someone of her status would travel with so little protection. As the carriage approaches the town of Ribble, the truth comes out. The adventurers who once traveled with them were actually subordinates of Ashna's uncle, plotting to take her hostage and seize her father's wealth and power. Seizing an opportunity, she and Gilles escaped, but the result was the deadly pursuit they had just endured. Athal reassures the princess and moves to the roof of the carriage, rifle in hand. Activating his silencer, he scans the distant area through his scope. Spotting approaching threats, he fires with precision, eliminating the enemies before they can draw near. Athal confirms the area is clear after eliminating nearby threats, earning more bullet points as a reward. With danger momentarily gone, the princess relaxes, enjoying the peaceful moment and wishing their journey could remain calm and safe. The carriage finally arrives at a grand estate. Inside, a heavy bag is dropped with a thud, spilling open to reveal a large amount of glittering coins, hinting at the wealth and power behind the place. At the estate, Athal is offered a generous reward for saving the princess. A bag of gold is presented, with the promise of even more if needed. Surprised, Athal insists it is already more than enough, modestly downplaying his deeds as simply defeating a few demon beasts. Athal realizes the large sum of money is not just a reward, but also a way to keep him silent about the incident. Understanding the situation, he accepts it, framing it as saving the feudal lord from further trouble. The lord is pleased, treating it as an unspoken agreement between adults. The feudal lord personally thanks Athal, expressing deep gratitude for saving both his daughter and her servant. Acknowledging his own failure to protect them, he calls Athal their true savior, recognizing the weight of what could have been lost. Athal makes a request in return for his help. Since he is unfamiliar with the region, he asks to be taught about the town and its culture. Eager to repay him, Ashna volunteers immediately, but her father quickly interrupts, stopping her. The lord considers Athal's request carefully, noting he seeks more than a noble's perspective. When asked if there are capable guides, Gilles suggests an unsettling solution: purchasing a slave. Both Ashna and Athal are visibly surprised by the proposal. It is explained that slavery is legal in the region, and Athal is invited to browse and purchase one if he wishes. As the offer is made, A girl in rags, chained and imprisoned, is presented as one of the slaves. Athal suddenly finds himself in a vast library, confused as to why he is there. Surrounded by endless bookshelves, he questions the strange place until a voice greets him, noting that he has awakened. Inside the library, Athal meets an old man who reveals himself to be a god. Startled, Athal questions why he is there and struggles to recall his last moments, only remembering playing a game at home. The god explains that his presence is no mistake, and that he had died, now brought into this place. The god explains the truth to Athal. In his previous life, he was suddenly stabbed from behind by a trespasser, leading to his untimely death and eventual arrival in this new world. Back in the estate, Athal reacts uneasily to the idea of slavery. He explains that in the country he came from, slavery was not permitted, making the suggestion feel completely foreign and unsettling to him. Gilles elaborates on the system, explaining that slaves in this state are often houseworkers, combatants, or craftsmen. While not highly educated, many can read and write, making them useful guides for newcomers. He suggests Athal could request a slave knowledgeable about the land's culture and customs. As Gilles assures that slaves are treated fairly, Athal suddenly feels a strange reaction in his body. His eye begins to glow unnaturally, seemingly triggered by the mention of the word slave, leaving him startled and confused. Though unsettled by his strange reaction, Athal thanks Ashna and prepares to leave. The princess, however, insists he stay the night so they can properly show their gratitude. Reluctant but respectful, Athal agrees, reflecting on how different this world is compared to the one he came from. The next day, Athal sets out on his own and arrives at a large building. Entering inside, he is greeted by the shopkeeper, who welcomes him as a customer. Inside, Athal meets Baz, a slave dealer who proudly introduces himself. He explains that his store provides slaves for various purposes and asks Athal about his preferences, race, age, appearance, and intended role, so he can match him with the most suitable choice. Athal thinks carefully about the request. He explains he doesn't want someone intimidating or who stands out too much. The slave should be about his height, not old, and able to accompany him in traveling. The dealer listens closely, noting every detail of Athal's preferences. Athal adds one final condition: he wants someone tight-lipped, able to keep secrets. The dealer agrees with a grin and leads him deeper inside, promising to show slaves he is most proud of. The dealer first presents young girls from ruined noble families, trained for household work, despite their origins. They are neither intimidating nor old, fitting Athal's stated conditions. However, he shows little interest and quickly asks to move on to the next option. The dealer then shows Athal powerful dragon race slaves, rare and extremely strong warriors. However, Athal is quick to point out that such slaves would stand out far too much, directly contradicting what he had asked for earlier. The dealer reassures Athal that the dragon race slaves were only one example and insists there are many others to see. As Athal follows, his eye suddenly reacts again, drawing his attention to a locked door deeper inside the place, hinting that something unusual lies behind it. Athal insists on checking the hidden cell his eye reacted to, despite the dealer's hesitation. Reluctantly, the dealer admits there is someone inside, but warns against her, saying she arrived already, burdened with an incurable injury, and would not make for a useful slave. Athal's eye reacts strongly as he approaches the hidden prisoner. The room is darker than the others, and inside sits a cloaked girl who avoids the light. The dealer nervously explains that she fears brightness and insists her condition is unusual, but Athal demands the light be turned on, revealing her face in shock. As the light hits her, the girl panics and screams, forcing the dealer to turn it off quickly. She retreats, breathing heavily in fear. The dealer explains her condition: a human beast with a scarred face, ear damage, and injured tendons. Though she received treatment, she now eats less and less. Abandoned and with an uncertain past, she is considered unfit as a slave. The weakened girl sits trembling in the corner, looking frail and hopeless. The dealer doubts she will survive much longer. But Athal's gaze sharpens as he addresses her directly, asking if the faint sound he heard just now came from her. Despite the dealer's hesitation, Athal firmly declares his choice. He points to the frail girl in the cell, asking for the contract to be prepared. With determination, he states clearly that she is the one he chooses. The dealer explains the terms of forming a slave contract. Ataru must use his blood to create the slave crest, binding her to his orders. However, there are limits. Slaves cannot be commanded into cruel acts or suicide. The master is responsible for food and clothing, and mistreatment could lead to punishment. Lastly, Ataru must decide what happens to her if he dies, with options like releasing her, returning her to the trader, or other outcomes. The preparations for the contract are completed, and the frail beast girl is brought in. Weak and unsteady on her feet, she looks down as she's guided forward by an attendant. Ataru watches quietly, taking in her condition as the final steps of the agreement approach. Ataru is formally introduced to the frail beast girl, chosen as his companion. She struggles to speak but manages to reveal her name, Karo, marking the beginning of their bond as master and servant. Karo, weakened and coughing, asks to be looked after, despite her damaged throat. Ataru accepts her condition without hesitation and orders the ritual to begin, sealing their contract. Ataru and Karo stand within a ritual circle to begin the slave crest ceremony. A collar is presented, symbolizing her status, and Ataru places it around Karo's neck, finalizing the binding. Ataru spills his blood onto the ritual oath paper to seal the contract. Karo follows by doing the same, her expression calm despite her frailty. With both signatures complete, the ritual of the slave crest progresses successfully. The ritual nears its end as the priestess chants, summoning a glowing light. Ataru is instructed to pass the light to Karo, finalizing the bond between master and slave through the sacred ceremony. Enro carefully accepts the glowing orb, bringing it to her lips. As she swallows, a powerful light surges through her body, and a crest forms on her chest, marking the completion of the slave contract ritual. The ritual concludes successfully. Karo, now bound by the crest, introduces herself formally. Ataru responds with his name, and the two acknowledge their new bond, beginning their journey together. After the ritual, Karo leaves with Ataru. The nun and the merchant reflect on her future. Uncertain but hopeful she will be treated kindly. The merchant admits he sensed something unusual about Ataru, believing the young man holds a special quality that might change her fate. Ataru carries Karo through the open plains, worried about her frail condition. The sunlight proves harsh, causing her to cough and weaken further, yet she insists she is fine, holding on despite her struggle. Ataru carries Karo far from the city until they reach a secluded spot. After setting her down by a rock, he asks if she wants to heal the many wounds covering her body, his expression serious and determined. Karo, coughing and weak, insists her wounds cannot heal, believing no cure exists in this world. Ataru challenges her despair, suggesting there might be a way. She recalls how others once encouraged her to wish for healing, but none of those wishes ever came true, leaving her resigned to her suffering. Karo reflects on her situation, convinced no cure exists in this world. She recalls the ritual, where the light she saw reminded her of the night sky, back home deep, dark, and shining. To her, it felt like one of her wishes had finally come true. Though uncertain why Ataru chose her or what her future holds, that moment brought her a rare sense of happiness. Ataru directly asks Karo if she truly wants her wounds healed. Overwhelmed with emotion, Karo breaks down in tears, finally admitting her deepest desire to be healed. Despite her longing, she hesitates, weighed down by uncertainty and doubt. Ataru accepts Karo's wish and readies his rifle. With his unique ability, he prepares specialized bullets, infused with magic. Among the options, normal, fire, and thunder, he selects the one designed for healing, determined to use his power to restore her broken body. Ataru points his rifle toward Karo, asking if she understands what it is. She admits she doesn't, and, though frightened, confesses her fear openly. Ataru acknowledges her honesty, steady and calm, as he prepares for what comes next. Ataru steadies his rifle, telling Karo to trust him. Though frightened, she closes her eyes and places her faith in him. With determination, Ataru fires, the shot signaling the beginning of something that could change her fate. The bullet strikes, and Karo collapses, surrounded by a radiant light. Confused but overwhelmed, she feels warmth coursing through her body. The gentle glow embraces her, as she realizes something within her is changing. Her injury is beginning to heal. Karo's body burns with sensation as warmth floods through her. For so long, her limbs had been numb, her pain silenced by weakness. Now, she feels pain again, raw and vivid. What once had vanished, now returns. A nostalgic ache that reminds her she is alive. Karo regains her strength, feeling life surge back into her body. For the first time in so long, she can stand, walk, and even run freely. Overjoyed, she realizes she has returned to how she once was, filled with energy and hope. Karo, now fully healed, speaks with her true voice for the first time in years. Ataru acknowledges it warmly, calling it cute. Overwhelmed with emotion, Karo begins to cry, realizing the weight of her newfound freedom and the kindness shown to her. Overcome with gratitude and relief, Karo runs into Ataru's arms, embracing him tightly as tears stream down her face. Finally, feeling saved and protected, Karo continues crying in Ataru's arms, but slowly begins to calm down. After about an hour, she regains her composure, apologizing for being a burden. Ataru gently reassures her, and with a nod, she shows that she has finally settled down. Akero tests her body after the healing and moves around energetically, showing that her recovery was a success. Ataru observes her with relief, confirming that the hyper-healing bullet worked perfectly. Kero, now able to move freely, thanks Ataru with deep emotion. Overcome with relief, she clings to him, though he warns her not to strain herself. She then questions why he chose to help someone like her, while Ataru hints that they still have much to discuss, starting with her current state. Ataru and Kero return to town. They visit a shop where the flamboyant tailor proudly announces Kero's transformation, presenting her in the store's most fashionable and popular attire. Kero tries on elegant clothes modeled after the Ashna style, admired by many girls. Ataru tells her it looks good, but Kero feels unworthy of wearing something so fine. Despite her doubts, she admits she likes it, and Ataru encourages her to speak her mind honestly. Kero, dressed in new clothes, gathers courage and says she wants to be useful to Ataru, especially in dangerous situations. Though nervous, she expresses her desire to help. The shopkeeper notes she is a rabbit beastman, naturally gifted with physical ability, and interprets her wish as wanting clothes that allow freedom of movement so she can protect her master. Ataru compliments Kero's new outfit, noting it suits her and allows easy movement. Kero, grateful, thanks him warmly. They then discuss the need to find a place to stay. Kero admits she hasn't gone outside much since becoming a slave, feeling a bit apologetic. As they consider where to go, a passerby overhears and asks if they are searching for lodging. While searching for a place to stay, Ataru and Kero are approached by a cheerful girl who invites them to her family's inn, a popular spot in town. She eagerly guides them there and proudly introduces it as the Spirit's Tree. The girl, Flana, presents herself as the inn's poster girl, warmly welcoming them. Ataru and Kero arrive at the inn, warmly welcomed by Flana's family. The place has a pleasant atmosphere, convincing Ataru to stay there. Kero is overjoyed, and Flana proudly celebrates bringing in guests. Her mother, the innkeeper, happily agrees to host them for 7 days, marking the start of their new lodging. Ataru pays in advance for their stay at the inn and registers his name. Flana explains the inn has a large public bath with a natural hot spring and offers them private use for an hour. She teases Kero about helping her master in the bath, leaving Kero blushing heavily at the thought. Ataru tells Kero their room is ready on the second floor. Nervously, Kero hesitates before mentioning Flana's earlier words about them having the public bath to themselves for an hour. Embarrassed but hopeful, she suggests they could take a bath together before eating. Kero, flustered and blushing, nervously offers to wash Ataru's back, but he quickly refuses, insisting she doesn't need to do such things and should just relax. Embarrassed, she reluctantly agrees and enters the hot spring, her expression softening as she prepares to bathe. Kero steps into the large bath, amazed by its size. As she notices her reflection in the water, she touches her skin in disbelief. Her burn marks have completely vanished. Overwhelmed, she realizes the scars that once defined her suffering are now gone. Kero returns from the bath, her face still warm and flushed. She thanks Ataru for letting her go first. When Ataru prepares to bathe next, he notices Kero sitting properly on the floor, explaining that she was taught to conduct herself that way. Ataru, a bit surprised, questions her behavior as she quietly waits. Ataru tells Kero she no longer needs to act like a servant and makes her sit beside him instead. Though Kero insists she is a slave bound by contract, Ataru explains that while their bond is defined as master and servant, he wants her to listen to him directly, hinting at a relationship built on trust rather than status. Ataru tells Kero that he sees her not as a slave, but as his companion. He asks her, at the very least when they're alone, to treat him as a partner, a friend, or even just a fellow traveler, rather than only as her master. Kero nods with a small smile, showing she accepts Ataru's words. Suddenly, her stomach growls, breaking the moment. Embarrassed, she apologizes, but Ataru brushes it off, deciding they should get something to eat first. He puts his belongings away, keeping only his rifle and some money. Ataru reveals a strange ability, casually manipulating coins in a way that shocks Kero. She stares wide-eyed, admitting she has never seen anything like it before. Ataru realizes this phenomenon isn't normal, while Kero confirms with awe that it truly isn't. Ataru finishes explaining his situation, but the elder suddenly questions him about storage. He points out that carrying around a rifle, bullets, equipment, and even all the money Ataru earns in that world would become a major problem. Ataru realizes he needs a solution for storage and suggests a dimensional space that can open and absorb items. The elder agrees, finalizing it as Ataru's ability. His rifle, ammo, and money can now be stored in a separate dimension. retrievable anytime, but only usable by him. Ataru reflects on how he used his powers carelessly, as if they were normal, realizing their uniqueness. Karo listens, as he explains that he alone can do such things, which she views as a mysterious and extraordinary ability of his people. Ataru tells Karo he doesn't want to stand out and asks her to warn him if he's about to act against the common sense of their world. He explains that he'll decide what to do afterward but needs her support. Karo agrees with determination, moved by his trust in her. Karo reflects on Ataru's strength and the mysterious tools he used to heal her. She realizes he must feel uneasy in a foreign land, yet chose her to accompany him, trusting her with his secret. Grateful and determined, she vows to support him with all her heart. Ataru shows Karo his rifle, explaining it as his weapon capable of long-range attacks and channeling various kinds of magic. Karo tries to hold it, finding it heavy. Ataru clarifies that only he can use it due to restrictions, ensuring it can't be misused if stolen. He compares its power to high-level magic, leaving Karo astonished since she has never seen anything like it before. Ataru tells Karo that his weapon must remain a secret between them. Karo agrees with a smile, but soon after, she collapses into his arms. Concerned, Ataru thinks she may have overexerted herself since she just recovered. However, Karo reassures him with a faint smile, saying she's only hungry. Ataru and Karo sit together at a table filled with delicious food. Karo, overwhelmed with emotion, tears up at the sight of the meal, while Ataru looks at her warmly. The two then enjoy the feast together, sharing a quiet and heartfelt moment. While the inn bustles with food being served, Karo quietly asks Ataru if he came to the city with any particular goal. Ataru, calmly sipping his drink, listens attentively, ready to answer her question. Ataru admits he doesn't have a clear objective yet, only the desire to use the city as a base and learn more about the country. Karo suggests joining the guild as an adventurer to take on requests, prompting Ataru to ask her for more details about how the guild works. Karo explains how the guild system works. Adventurers register to take on ranked requests, which offer rewards based on difficulty. While some dangerous jobs involve defeating monsters or exploring hazardous areas, most requests are from ordinary people in need. She highlights that the guild exists worldwide, including in this city, and believes that by taking on requests, they can both earn rewards and learn more about the region. Ataru asks if outsiders can register as adventurers, and Karo confirms it's possible. When he questions her role, Karo explains she can't register because she's a slave, but insists she can still fight and help complete requests. Ataru presses further, recalling her earlier words, and Karo passionately declares that she can fight, showing her determination to support him despite her status. Ataru recalls the god's words about gaining strength by defeating monsters and absorbing their magic. Though aware of the dangers, he decides they will register at the guild the next day. He notes that Karo, being a beastman, has strong physical potential and can grow even stronger with his support. To prepare, he suggests getting her proper equipment, despite her worries about him spending more money on her. Ataru recalls facing monsters on his way to the city and stresses the importance of being prepared. He tells Karo that providing her with proper equipment is part of his duty as her partner. They head to a weapon and armor shop, determined to find gear that will keep her safe in battle. Ataru considers the best weapon for Karo, noting that something light and fast would suit her beastman agility. Karo admits she has trained with a sword before but lacks confidence in her skills. Though worried about being a burden, Ataru reassures her that it's fine to fail, and that with practice, she'll improve step by step. Ataru and Karo visit a weapon shop owned by Bob, who shows them a steel sword recommended for beginners. Bob offers to let them test it against a magic-powered training dummy, which stops once it takes enough damage. Karo eagerly volunteers to try it out, and Ataru checks if she's ready before letting her step forward. Karo steps up to face the magic training dummy, sword in hand, her expression tense with determination. The dummy advances and swings powerfully, quickly overwhelming her. She stumbles and falls under its heavy strike, struggling to keep up with its strength as Ataru watches her attempt. Karo throws herself into the fight, leaping and swinging the sword with all her strength. Despite her effort, her movements are clumsy and unsteady, as if the weapon is controlling her rather than the other way around. Ataru observes quietly, realizing that the one-handed sword is still too heavy and difficult for someone of Karo's size to handle properly. Karo struggles to keep up against the training dummy's heavy strikes, but Ataru quickly reacts, tossing her a knife. Realizing the sword was too much for her, he urges her to switch weapons. Karo catches the knife, determined, and prepares herself to continue the fight with something better suited to her size and speed. Karo charges at the training dummy with the knife in hand. Using her agility, she dodges its heavy strikes, leaps forward, and lands a precise blow. showing much better control with the lighter weapon. Enro strikes the training dummy with determination, landing a solid blow that forces it back. She lands gracefully, showing both her agility and growing confidence as Ataru observes her progress closely. Akero celebrates her success after defeating the dummy, thrilled by how natural it felt to fight with a knife for the first time. Ataru notices her enthusiasm, but also realizes she struggles to control heavier weapons. The shopkeeper reassures them, hinting at having a solution that fits her better. Akero receives new equipment: 3 steel knives, a hair accessory, a breastplate, and knee guards. The shopkeeper confirms the price, and Ataru agrees without hesitation. The final purchase is sealed as her new gear is prepared. Ataru and Akero both notice a particular knife displayed on the wall. Drawn to it, they sense a unique aura surrounding the weapon, hinting at its special nature. The shopkeeper reveals that the knife is no ordinary weapon, but a rare and powerful magic weapon. With pride, he presents it as an item of unparalleled strength, emphasizing its special nature. Akero is amazed upon learning the knife is a legendary magic weapon. The shopkeeper explains it was discovered in a dangerous dungeon and purchased from an old adventurer. This rare blade grants its wielder special powers, making it a highly coveted item among adventurers. The shopkeeper reveals that the magic weapon increases the wielder's reaction speed and movement. Its blade is not only powerful but also decorated with carvings and gems, giving it artistic value. Ataru questions its high cost, showing concern about its price, despite its clear usefulness. The shopkeeper offers to sell the magic knife for 20 gold coins, surprising Akero with the high price. Ataru reflects on the value of money in this world. Recalling he received several hundred gold coins earlier, and noting that lodging for a week cost far less than 1 coin. Despite his doubts, the shopkeeper insists it's a bargain compared to the usual market price. Akero reacts in shock, insisting the price of 20 gold coins is far too expensive, while the shopkeeper confidently claims it's cheap. Ataru, observing their opposing views, questions whether such a price is really considered expensive in this world. Ataru carefully considers the high price of the weapon, while the shopkeeper resists lowering it. He turns to Akero, asking for her opinion, showing that her thoughts on the matter are important to his decision. Akero hesitates, realizing the weight of being asked directly for her perspective. Ataru decides that the weapon's value justifies its cost, and agrees to purchase it at the stated price. Akero reacts with surprise. Ataru calmly explains that proper investment at the start is important, leaving Akero pouting slightly but also realizing his seriousness. Ataru pays 20 gold coins for the magic weapon, negotiating a discount on other items as well. He then hands the weapon to Akero, who is moved and surprised to receive it, despite seeing herself as just a slave. Ataru reassures Akero that giving her the weapon was a necessary investment for their future. He emphasizes that it will help her grow stronger and safer in battle. Calling her his companion, he places his trust in her, leaving Akero deeply touched by his words and recognition. Ataru begins to understand Ataru's way of thinking, and accepts it with a smile. The two walk together through the city, sharing a quiet moment of companionship. Soon they arrive before a grand building, identified as the Adventurers Guild. Ataru and Akero step inside the bustling Adventurers Guild for the first time. The hall is filled with people drinking, chatting, and checking requests on the board. Akero admits it's her first time there, while Ataru quickly takes the lead, in guiding them toward the registration counter to begin the process of joining daughters. At the guild's counter, a staff member named Douglas introduces himself and handles Ataru's registration. He provides a form, explaining that only the name is mandatory, while other details are optional but helpful. Ataru agrees and begins filling it out, with Akero watching curiously by his side. Ataru completes his registration by only providing his name, surprising the guild staff. He calmly explains that it's enough since he doesn't want to join other parties and prefers to keep things simple. Akero, initially concerned, realizes his reasoning and accepts it, while Ataru modestly downplays his own abilities. Akero, full of determination, walks ahead confidently and slams her hand on the counter, drawing the attention of everyone in the guild. The noisy gesture causes a group of intimidating adventurers nearby to glare at her, their expressions filled with suspicion and annoyance. Ataru is instructed to touch a crystal to create his guild card. As he places his hand on it, the orb begins recording his personal information onto the card. While the process continues, he calmly remains still, and Akero watches closely. The registrar notes that it will take some time and offers to explain how the guild system works during the wait. The guild official explains the ranking system to Ataru and Akero. All adventurers begin at rank F and can advance through ranks up to rank A, the highest. Progression depends on completing quests successfully, gaining achievements, and increasing recognition. Higher ranks unlock more difficult and rewarding quests, allowing adventurers to expand their opportunities. The guild official explains that rank S is the highest and requires recognition from the nation and endorsement from the royal family, making it extremely rare. Ataru reflects that even without aiming for such high ranks, it would be better to climb steadily if he wishes to act actively. The guild offers various requests posted on the board, and the official confirms that Ataru can start taking them immediately after registering. Ataru successfully completes his guild registration and receives his adventurer's card. The official explains that as a rank F, he can only take on requests up to 1 rank above his. Ataru acknowledges the rules, thanks the official for the explanation, and decides to start by checking the available requests. Akero admits she hasn't fought in a while and feels unsure, so she suggests choosing a safer request for their first mission. Ataru listens and follows her to the board, where gathering-type quests are posted, deciding to start with something less risky. Ataru and Karo review the quest board together. Karo picks a medicinal herb gathering request, considering it safe, though a bit tedious. Ataru, however, also selects a wolf suppression quest from a nearby village, since the beasts have been troubling the locals. Despite Karo's concerns, Ataru decides to take both quests, reassuring her as they prepare for their first missions. Ataru and Karo finish their registration and accept their first quests, gathering medicinal herbs and suppressing wolves near a village. The guildmaster explains the process of verifying requests and provides them with a book illustrating herbs and other useful materials. As a gift, with their first mission set, Ataru reassures Karo that he'll support her, and they prepare to begin their journey as adventurers. Ataru and Karo leave the guild, planning to handle the wolf suppression request first, since the nearby village is in trouble. Karo feels anxious, but Ataru reassures her that they'll get details from the village leader before taking action. With their plan set, they head toward the village together. Ataru refuses the men's demand and mocks them, angering their leader. When attacked, he easily dodges, leaving the thugs frustrated and shouting at him to obey. The thugs try to capture Karo, but Ataru intervenes. Annoyed, he swiftly overpowers them with deadly precision, declaring their presence irritating before eliminating them. Ataru effortlessly defeats the attackers, leaving them scattered on the ground. Karo runs toward him, calling out in relief and admiration. Ataru reassures Karo that he didn't kill the men, only put them to sleep using special bullets. He considers the weapon effective and plans to create more if he can earn money from requests. While someone secretly observes them from a window, a mysterious elf woman watches from the shadows, observing the scene closely. Meanwhile, Karo blushes shyly while Ataru looks at her with a gentle smile, showing their growing bond. Ataru, with a sharp and focused gaze, swiftly takes down his enemies one after another, using his rifle, knocking them out with precise shots. The last enemy charges at Ataru, but he is instantly struck down. In moments, all of the attackers are left unconscious on the ground, defeated with ease. A guild staff are shocked to see several C-rank adventurers defeated in an instant. Ataru brushes it off casually, keeping his true strength a secret while surprising everyone around him. Akero, still shaken, takes Ataru's hand and stands up. She's impressed by how easily he defeated the adventurers, but Ataru downplays it, saying they were simply weak and unskilled. Karo, flustered, insists nothing happened while praising Ataru's strength. She apologizes for making him worry. After leaving the fainted adventurers in Silda's care, Ataru and Karo prepare to head out toward the village. Karo recalls the fear she felt when the thugs confronted them, unable to move her body. The pressure was unlike anything she had experienced from magical soldiers. Yet, Ataru believed in her abilities, even going so far as to buy her a powerful magic weapon, showing the expectations he had for her growth. Karo is overwhelmed by self-doubt, fearing that if she fails, Ataru will grow upset and abandon her as just a slave. She recalls her vow to protect him, even at the cost of her own body. But the thought of Ataru being in danger because of her fills her with guilt and despair. She resolves that she cannot allow herself to drag him down, no matter what. Ataru spots movement in the bushes and tells Karo to stay quiet. Watching closely, they discover a group of goblins. Karo explains that goblins breed quickly, attack livestock, and often assault adventurers in groups, making them a dangerous threat, despite their low individual strength. Ataru and Karo notice belongings near the goblins, realizing they came from adventurers who were attacked. Ataru explains that the goblins are resting after an assault, making this a good chance to strike. He asks Karo what she would do in this situation, testing her judgment, while noting that moving now would likely lead them straight into battle. Karo explains her plan. She would move quietly to a hidden spot behind the goblins, wait until 3 of them group together, then strike all at once. Ataru praises her strategy, but decides he'll handle it himself, telling her to stay back and watch. He then prepares his rifle, ready to attack the goblins directly. Ataru readies his rifle, carefully aiming at the goblins from afar. Karo is shocked, realizing he intends to shoot them from such a long distance, something she finds unbelievable. Ataru takes aim through his rifle scope, whispering that it's time. In the next moment, multiple goblins are shot down instantly, collapsing before they even realize what happened. Ataru explains his true strategy, using his rifle to strike enemies from a distance. He reveals that the special bullets he created, like the faint bullets used earlier and the healing bullet that saved Karo, are his unique techniques. Karo, wide-eyed with awe, can only call him amazing. Karo is thrilled, praising Ataru as amazing for taking down multiple enemies with a single shot. Ataru, however, insists that it's the weapon, the rifle, that's impressive, not him. Karo disagrees, pointing out that his skill is what made the difference, comparing it to how he quickly handled the 3 adventurers earlier. Karo insists that Ataru is amazing, not just the rifle. Ataru is surprised by her perspective, realizing she truly understands. He acknowledges her words, admitting her abilities and awareness are even better than he expected. Ataru reassures Karo to trust herself, telling her it's fine to fail since failures bring growth. He promises to protect her with his life, easing her worries. Karo is moved to tears, feeling relief and determination, while Ataru gently pats her head for comfort. Karo suddenly clings tightly to Ataru, flustered and emotional, declaring she'll do her very best. Ataru, caught off guard, reminds her that since she can't officially register as an adventurer, they'll share the quest rewards together. Karo nods earnestly, determined. At the slave shop, after Karo was bought by Ataru, the slaves are given rest time. One of them, Petra, reflects on Karo's situation. She hopes Karo's new master will treat her well, worrying about Karo's injuries but feeling reassured that she may finally be happy. In this scene, a slave girl named Romeo reflects on her feelings. She admits to feeling jealous of people like Karo, who found a good master. Romeo's profile mentions she has a secret that only reveals itself once her heart is settled. Just then, a child runs toward her, calling Mama, revealing that she isn't alone. She has a younger brother with her. Here another slave named Ryogen is introduced. He has immense physical strength and high abilities, though he struggles with communication. He expresses a quiet hope that Karo will find happiness with her new master, and eventually forget the pain of being a slave. Meanwhile, the shopkeeper and assistant discuss the situation, showing concern about how to manage the remaining slaves. Ataru and Karo finally arrive at West Stamp Village. The mayor, Pablo, greets them warmly, thanking them for coming. He acknowledges their long journey from Libre and invites them to his home, apologizing that he may not be able to entertain them much, but showing genuine gratitude for their arrival. Ataru asks the mayor to explain the details of the request, pointing out that the location isn't as important as understanding what needs to be done. He suggests finishing things quickly, noting it's better to start early. The mayor agrees, admitting Ataru is right. While Karo watches with a calm expression, the mayor explains the village's situation. Farms around the area are being attacked by devil wolves that came from the forest. In the past, villagers managed to drive them off, but now their numbers have grown too large. Among the pack, there's also a much larger species leading them, making it impossible for the villagers to handle. Ataru listens carefully and notes that the problem seems to have escalated beyond the villagers' control. Ataru asks the mayor for the wolves' current location, confirming he was sent by the Adventurers Guild to handle both the pack and their leader. Karo looks a bit worried, but Ataru calmly states that their task is to decide how to proceed with the mission. The mayor explains that the original request was only to deal with the regular wolves, not the boss wolf. Since higher-ranked monsters increase the request level and fee, Ataru decides to overlook the omission, telling them to just act like they don't know about the boss wolf. Relieved, the villagers point out the wolves' location on the map for Ataru and Karo. As Ataru and Karo head toward the wolves, Karo worries if he'll be alright since the quest might exceed their rank. Ataru, however, sees it as a convenient chance to test his strength. He thinks about how he should be able to gain more rewards if he succeeds, while Karo follows along nervously but reassured by his confidence. Ataru sets up his rifle and scouts the area with Karo. Through his scope, he spots 9 wolves gathered near the cave entrance. Karo confirms their location, but notes she can't see the boss among them, suggesting it might be hiding deeper inside. Ataru agrees, suspecting the boss wolf is in the cave. Ataru explains the strategy to Karo. She will circle around and approach the wolves from behind, signaling him once in position. Ataru will then launch a surprise attack with a special bullet suited for fast enemies. If the boss wolf emerges from the cave, Ataru will try to eliminate it with a single shot, while Karo focuses on drawing its attention if needed. Ataru warns Karo not to push herself too hard, telling her to just focus on attracting the enemy. Karo firmly agrees. Karo dashes forward with determination, leaping into action to carry out her role in the plan and attract the enemy's attention. Karo runs with determination, knowing her movements are key to Ataru's plan. His strategy is to isolate the boss by eliminating the other wolves, and she resolves not to disappoint him, the one who believes in her. Hidden in the bushes, she prepares to act. Ataru sees Karo's signal, confirming she's in position. With determination, Karo draws her weapons, ready for battle. Ataru acknowledges her resolve and gives the command to move forward together. Ataru takes aim through his rifle, focusing carefully. From a distance, wolves roam near the cave, unaware of his presence. With precision, he prepares to fire, signaling the beginning of their planned attack. Ataru fires his rifle with precision, the shot hitting its mark. One of the wolves reacts instantly, alert and startled. Smiling with confidence, Ataru praises his aim, as if speaking to the rifle itself, ready to continue the fight. Karo steps forward, prepared for her role in the plan. Her eyes sharpen with determination as the wolves react, growling and charging toward her. Now it's her turn to draw their attention and execute the next phase of the strategy. Karo charges forward, drawing her blade as the wolves snarl and close in on her. With determination in her eyes, she calls upon the magic within her weapon, demanding its power to face the enemies head-on. Karo slashes through a massive wolf with overwhelming force, leaving it stunned and defeated. Shocked by the weapon's power, she feels as if the wind itself flows with her movements. Realizing the immense potential of the magic weapon, she gains newfound confidence to fight even stronger enemies. Karo charges forward with determination, striking down wolves with swift and powerful attacks. Her confidence grows as she realizes she can truly hold her ground in battle. With fierce resolve, she declares that she can do it, pushing herself to fight without hesitation. Karo faces the dense fog as heavy footsteps draw near. The claws of a massive creature appear, revealing an immense and threatening wolf. In the face of the beast's crushing presence, she realizes she is standing before the pack leader, larger and more terrifying than she had expected. The scene shows Karo reflecting after the battle. She observes the situation and thinks that, after that confrontation, the wolves should be completely eliminated. Ataru spots a massive wolf through his scope and quickly recognizes it from the guild's records. The creature's dark red fur and huge size match the descriptions of a dangerous variant known for its high agility and overwhelming strength, standing out as a threat far above normal wolves. Karo is caught off guard as another enemy appears, even more dangerous than before. She faces the Death Wolf, a high-ranked monster whose presence alone makes it clear that defeating it will be a challenge even for skilled adventurers. The situation grows tense as the true threat stands before her. Karo stands face to face with the Death Wolf, both measuring each other, while Karo keeps her focus, aware of the danger she's up against. Karo gets into position, ready to face the Death Wolf head-on. Ataru keeps his eyes on the battle, waiting for the right moment to act, while the giant beast focuses all its attention on Karo, preparing to attack. Ataru fires a precise shot while Karo charges in with her weapon. The Death Wolf is hit hard, shattering the ground and leaving Karo momentarily surprised by the result. With the threat defeated, she realizes they managed to pull it off together. The Death Wolf stands up again, surrounded by intense flames, barely affected by the previous attack. Karo realizes that the fire attack had almost no effect on the monster, raising the tension even more. Ataru gets ready with his rifle while the Death Wolf glares at him, its body crackling with energy. Karo watches as the beast's presence grows even more intense, surprising her with the monster's overwhelming power. The Death Wolf moves forward with heavy steps, its massive body blocking Karo's path. The beast turns, baring its fangs and filling the area with a menacing growl, while Karo keeps her guard up, ready for its attack. Karo tries to keep her distance from the Death Wolf, but the monster is fast and quickly closes the gap between them. The beast's speed makes it hard for Karo to use her magic weapon effectively, while Ataru realizes the wolf is aware of his presence and is making it tough to get a clear shot. Karo tries to stay alert, moving carefully to avoid the Death Wolf's attacks. Suddenly, the wolf bursts out and charges at her, forcing her to react fast as debris flies around. The tension spikes as she's pushed back, barely keeping up with the creature's speed. Enro struggles to defend herself as the Death Wolf charges aggressively. She's pushed back, narrowly dodging the beast's powerful attacks while trying to find an opening. The pressure keeps building as the wolf stays relentless. Ataru spots an opening and fires at the Death Wolf just as it tries to attack Karo. The shots land, stopping the monster's claws and forcing it back for a moment, giving Karo some relief Ataru realizes his normal bullets barely slow down the death wolf. The creature adapts quickly, dodging attacks, and even the magic bullets aren't enough to seriously injure it. Ataru struggles to predict its next move, surprised by how tough this enemy is. Ataru thinks about his strategy, realizing it was smart to prepare another magic bullet just in case. As the sun starts to set, Kara worries that the situation will get even worse if darkness falls. They know if the death wolf escapes now, it will return and threaten the whole village later, making it clear they have to finish the fight now. Ataru stays alert with his rifle ready, while Karo faces the death wolf with determination. She prepares herself for the next move, watching the beast closely as the final confrontation draws near. Ataru quickly checks his bullet types and prepares for another shot. Suddenly, the death wolf makes a move, catching Karo's attention. She rushes forward, ready to face the threat head-on. Karo leaps toward the death wolf, charging in with determination. She closes the distance, ready to strike as the beast bares its fangs, meeting her head-on. Karo manages to land another direct hit on the death wolf, slashing the beast as it roars in pain. The monster screeches, showing that her attacks are finally making an impact. Karo tries to keep her distance, but the death wolf suddenly moves, causing her to lose her footing and fall. Her weapon slips from her hand as she slides across the ground, caught off guard by the beast's speed. Karo, struggling and injured, tries to get back up while the death wolf roars and closes in. She forces herself to keep fighting, pushing through the pain as the beast threatens to overwhelm her. Ataru recognizes Karo's effort in holding back the monster. With Karo standing strong despite her injuries, Ataru seizes the chance, lines up his shot, and fires what he believes will be the decisive blow to end the battle. A powerful blast lights up the scene as the death wolf lets out a roar. Karo stands face to face with the massive beast, tension rising as the attack lands and the wolf cries out in pain. The ground keeps shaking as the death wolf roars furiously. Karo stands her ground, facing the giant beast head-on, determined even as the monster's anger grows. Karo is startled as the death wolf suddenly appears from the mist, its eyes locked on her. The monster lets out a deafening roar, baring its fangs as the tension in the battle escalates. Ataru is surprised that the death wolf could withstand his shot, finding it impressive. However, he prepares another special bullet, ready to continue the fight with a different approach. A special bullet hits the death wolf, causing an electric explosion that spreads throughout its body. Karo shields her eyes from the intense light and energy released during the attack. After the intense fight, Karo manages to stand up, saying she's fine. Ataru checks if she's really alright, and she reassures him that nothing serious happened. The two observe the defeated death wolf, recognizing how much effort it took to win, and noting that its strength was on another level compared to any other wolf. Karo says she was able to move so freely thanks to the magic weapon Ataru bought for her. Ataru praises her performance, and both reflect on how the investment in good equipment really paid off. With the quest finished, the two celebrate their teamwork, even as Karo nearly loses her balance from exhaustion. Karo loses her balance, and Ataru quickly catches her. He checks if she's okay, thinking she might have hurt her leg. Embarrassed, Karo tries to explain herself, blushing and getting flustered by the situation. After the tense battle, Karo admits she was so relieved that her legs almost gave out. Ataru reassures her, saying it's understandable since it was their first real fight. He then tells Karo he'll be counting on her from now on, and she confidently agrees. Karo and Ataru arrive at a field where medicinal herbs grow. They're following a quest from the guild to gather leaves. Karo mentions the information she found in the guild's book about the best environmental conditions for the herbs. The two get ready to start their new quest together. Karo and Ataru notice there are no signs of people passing through, and the place seems well hidden. They decide to start gathering medicinal herb leaves at that spot. After taking care of the wolf pack and the death wolf, they reported everything to the village chief before focusing on their new task. When Karo and Ataru report the death wolf to the village chief and villagers, everyone is shocked. The villagers clearly didn't know about such a dangerous creature being so close to their settlement. The chief feels responsible and apologizes for putting them in danger, but some villagers defend him, saying they were the ones who told him to seek help. After the fight, Karo reassures the villagers that payment for the quest can wait. Ataru makes it clear he never wanted anything extra, understanding the village's tough financial situation. He reminds them not to risk the villagers' safety over money and suggests they prepare clearer requests next time. Ataru leaves the dismantling work and the monster parts to the villagers, just asking them to keep proof of the subjugation. The chief is thankful and promises to remember Ataru's advice. Karo asks to help with dismantling the monster, wanting to be useful even outside of battle. She explains that her skills are still limited, but she wants to become stronger and be more helpful to Ataru. Ataru feels surprised and happy, Realizing that Caro is starting to think for herself and look for ways to support him not just out of duty, Caro is happy to have learned a lot and feels more useful, now able to help with dismantling monsters. She brings food and a guidebook for the process. Ataru realizes again that this world uses monsters as a food source and reflects on his life after reincarnation. The villagers show their gratitude by organizing a feast for them before they leave. Ataru quickly gathers a large amount of medicinal herbs without even noticing, surprising Caro with his speed and skill. He encourages her, acknowledging how hard she's been working, and tells her to keep going at her own pace. To motivate her, he promises a small part of the reward as he continues to help her with the task. Caro thanks Ataru for the reward. Ataru tells her to look forward to it and asks if there's anything she wants. He encourages her to speak up about what's on her mind, no matter how small or troublesome it might seem. Caro hesitates but admits there are a few things she'd like. Caro shares her dream of helping Ataru as an adventurer. She remembers being saved by an adventurer as a child, and, ever since, wanted to be one herself, even though she can't register at the guild because she's a slave, and she says she'd be really happy if she could support Ataru in an active role. Ataru tells Caro he wants her to keep traveling and working as an adventurer by his side. Caro happily agrees. Then, when Ataru asks what else she wants to do, he says he'd like to visit his hometown at least once. Since the only landscapes he remembers from home are the ones he sees in his dreams, Caro says she was born in the beast folks' country but ended up alone and can't remember her parents' faces. That's why she wants to visit that country again someday. Ataru listens quietly to her story. Ataru promises Caro that he'll take her to the beast folks' country no matter what. Caro smiles, feeling happy and thankful, and calls him by name. Ataru gives her a reassuring look, and she thanks him sincerely. Ataru and Caro finish gathering enough medicinal herbs for their quest. They plan to get lunch after reporting the quest's completion back in the city. When they arrive, some people are surprised by the amount of medicinal herbs they're carrying. Ataru asks Caro if it's unusual to have collected so much, and Caro admits that it probably is. Ataru and Caro deliver the herbs to the city. The amount surprises people, and Caro explains they used a magic expansion bag for storage. Ataru thinks about getting one for future quests. They go inside to report their quest completion. Ataru returns to the guild and submits proof for completing both quests, the medicinal herbs and the wolves' suppression. The staff quickly takes care of the verification and treat the matter as urgent. The guild staff asks Ataru to follow him, leading Ataru and Caro through the counter for a more private discussion. Both seem a bit confused by the situation. Ataru and Caro are led by the staff into a private room where they're invited to enter for a more serious conversation. Ataru and Caro meet Franfilia, the acting guild master of the branch, who introduces herself in a formal and confident way. After dismissing Buras, Franfilia invites Ataru and Caro to sit down for their meeting in a fancy room. Then she shows them the Death Wolf's magic stone, surprising both of them. Franfilia questions Ataru and Caro about the Death Wolf's magic stone. Caro gets nervous, thinking they might have exposed the village chief. Ataru quickly explains that they found the stone after dismantling a defeated Death Wolf in the forest. Franfilia suspects Ataru is hiding his true abilities to avoid trouble with the guild. She guesses he has some kind of special power, and Ataru feels uneasy under her sharp gaze. Franfilia points out that Ataru knows a lot, even things like how to defeat a Death Wolf. Ataru realizes there's no point in denying it, since she wouldn't believe him anyway. Ataru agrees to tell everything but sets 3 conditions. The villagers won't be punished, what he says stays secret, and something related to the magic stone. Ataru adds that the guild master must personally buy the magic stone. He then explains how he and Caro were originally asked to deal with normal wolves, but ended up facing and defeating a demon-class death wolf. Franfilia listens closely as Ataru and Caro recall how they fought the monster. Ataru's memory flashes to the intense moment he fired his rifle, impressing the guildmaster with his skill. Ataru shows his rifle and explains it's a magic weapon for long-range attacks, but avoids details. Franfilia accepts this, noting adventurers don't reveal all their tricks. Ataru explains that Caro handles close-quarters fighting, not just support. Ataru explains how he and Caro defeated the Death Wolf, using teamwork and his long-range weapon to finish the fight. Franfilia listens, and is impressed by their achievement. The mood in the room shifts to one of quiet respect. Franfilia praises Ataru's abilities and expresses interest in his future at the guild. Satisfied with the conversation, she allows Ataru and Caro to leave, ending the meeting on good terms. Franfilia arranges for Caro to get her guild subscription thanks to her achievements. She tells Ataru not to worry, and encourages him to keep supporting Caro. Ataru and Karo prepare to leave the room, grateful for the help. Ataru confirms with Franfilia about their deal for the magic stone. Franfilia assures him that everything is settled. Ataru and Karo leave, while Franfilia watches them go. Franfilia finds Ataru intriguing and watches as he leaves. Meanwhile, Karo receives her official guild registration, visibly excited about her achievement. Expression. Karo is thrilled to finally become an adventurer and is encouraged to submit her own request. The group exchanges thanks and feels grateful for their support. Suddenly, a commotion breaks out as someone is injured nearby, drawing everyone's attention. A wounded adventurer rushes in and warns everyone at the guild about a horde of monsters approaching the town. The situation quickly gets tense as the group prepares for trouble. A group of adventurers rushes into a grand hall to deliver urgent news. They warn the armored defenders inside that a massive group of monsters is approaching the town, putting everyone on high alert. Meanwhile, Adam arrives urgently and asks for details about the situation, trying to get answers from the visibly shaken messenger. The messenger, out of breath and stressed, explains that a large group of monsters is heading toward the town. The guild staff and others react with shock as the urgency of the situation becomes clear. Adam tries to calm the messenger, who struggles to catch his breath, while others step in to help. At first, some people doubt the seriousness of the warning, thinking it's just a small group of monsters. The messenger insists that the threat is much bigger, saying there are over 100 monsters gathering near the town. He explains that he sensed the danger using his presence detection ability while in the northern forest and rushed back to report it. The girl offers water to the exhausted messenger. While he tries to recover, Adam asks Bura if the situation is as bad as it seems. Bura confirms with a worried look, saying things are really serious. The group realizes the town is facing a monster stampede, a dangerous event that has happened before and led to attacks on nearby towns. Bura, looking worried, steps back as Adam takes charge. The team starts planning their countermeasures, deciding to review past incident records to figure out their next steps. The guildmaster, rarely seen in public, makes a sudden appearance and surprises everyone. She confirms that the town is likely the target of the monster horde and urges all available adventurers to join forces and deal with the threat. The guildmaster announces that all registered adventurers, regardless of rank, can join the mission to stop the monsters. She offers a reward for participation and promises extra bonuses based on performance. From now on, this becomes the main quest, called the Monster Extermination Campaign, and no one can take on other jobs until it's finished. Some adventurers hesitate, unsure if they can handle the monster horde, while others quickly volunteer for the mission drawn by the reward. Ataru and his companion discuss their next move, realizing they'll probably need to join as well. Since the guildmaster's announcement seemed aimed at them, after a brief exchange of looks, Ataru decides they have no choice but to accept the quest. The group wonders how the extra rewards will be given out during the chaos, and Boris steps in to explain the details. Boris explains that adventurers' guild cards will track the number of monsters each person defeats, just like with normal quests. Extra rewards will be given out based on these numbers once the mission ends. Meanwhile, some worry if the news about the stampede has reached neighboring towns in time. Ataru tells Karo that they're accepting the monster extermination quest. Karo quickly agrees, ready to take on the mission with him. As Ataru and Karo go to register for the quest, a group of rough-looking adventurers blocks their way. The group mocks them for being newcomers and warns that it's not too late to back out of the dangerous mission. Ataru points out that the guildmaster allowed anyone to join, regardless of rank. The hostile adventurers, though, accuse him of planning to just take the participation reward without helping, saying they can't let that happen. In confronting him directly, the heated exchange is cut short when the guildmaster steps in, silencing everyone with authority. Her presence immediately halts the conflict between Ataru and the veteran adventurers. The guildmaster firmly reminds everyone that the town is in a state of emergency and that the survival of Ribagao is at stake. She forbids any internal fighting among the adventurers, forcing the hostile group to back down despite their frustration. The guildmaster stresses that rank doesn't matter, only the resolve to fight against the stampede. Despite her words, the veteran adventurers continue mocking Ataru, accusing him of only joining for the participation reward. Ataru counters by pointing out that they could be doing the same, leaving tension high between the groups. The guildmaster proposes a solution. The team with the best battle results will earn all rewards, not preventing anyone from just taking the participation prize. Ataru accepts the terms without hesitation, agreeing to the challenge alongside Karo, while the veteran adventurers react with surprise. The veteran adventurers hesitate at first, but after being provoked and mocked, they reluctantly agree to the challenge. Fired up and confident, they shout in unison, certain that there's no way they could lose to a low-ranked newcomer like Ataru. The adventurers around the guild begin placing bets, most favoring the experienced D-rankers over Ataru. Meanwhile, the guildmaster admits she set this up without asking Ataru first, but explains it will raise morale among the guild. She suggests ignoring the betting for now, considering it a small price to pay for strengthening everyone's spirit. A formal contract is drawn up, and both Ataru and the veteran adventurers sign it, making the challenge official. The guildmaster declares that everyone present will serve as witnesses to the agreement, setting the stage for the decisive competition to see who will prevail. The guildmaster announces the battle formation for the upcoming fight. Close combat fighters will take the front lines, while ranged attackers defend from the rear. Others will guard the town's outer wall. With scouts reporting the monsters already approaching, she rallies everyone, declaring that the future of Ruburu depends on their united strength. From atop the town's outer wall, Ataru, Karo, and the guildmaster look toward the forest where the monsters are gathering. As the other adventurers move into their assigned positions, the group prepares for the imminent battle. The adventurers spread out into formation, readying themselves for the incoming horde. Ataru questions if it's safe for the guildmaster to be in such a remote location, but she remains composed. He notes that their current position is a perfect vantage point for launching attacks. Ataru and Karo prepare for the battle. He positions himself on the wall to attack from range, while Karo takes the front lines, ready to stop any monsters that approach the city. Ataru promises to watch over Karo and warns her to stay safe. Karo reassures him and prepares for battle. As the monsters start to appear from the forest, everyone gets ready for the fight. Ataru and Karo finish their preparations and get into position. With a signal, they launch into action. Karo rushes forward, while Ataru takes aim, and the battle begins. The guildmaster senses the battle beginning as the monster stampede bursts from the forest. Waves of powerful creatures, including lizardmen, golems, and beastmen, charge toward the city walls, while the defenders brace for the fight. The defenders clash with the monsters in a chaotic battle. Swords and shields meet claws and brute force, with golems crushing the ground and beastmen attacking fiercely. The adventurers struggle to hold the line as the relentless horde keeps coming. Karo charges into the battle, using her speed to outmaneuver and take down several monsters in an instant. The other adventurers are shocked by how fast and skilled she is. Karo darts into the fray, moving with incredible speed. She quickly defeats several monsters, while Ataru supports from a distance. The others are shocked by her speed and strength, but realize they'll lose all the rewards if this keeps up. Some decide they have no choice but to target Carol and get her out of the way. The group hesitates after realizing they're bound by a contract with the guildmaster. Even though they're frustrated about losing, they argue about what to do next, but can't act against Carol without breaking the rules. The group panics about losing their rank and rewards if they fail. Embarrassed and desperate, they decide to get rid of Carol so they won't lose everything, planning something violent to make her disappear. The group prepares to act against Carol but is stunned when she easily defeats monsters, showing skills they didn't expect. While Carol is focused on fighting monsters, the others try to sneak up on her. Ataru, watching through his scope, decides it's time to step in and handle the situation himself. A sudden attack crashes near the group, catching them off guard. Confused and startled, they try to convince themselves it was just a coincidence, but some start to wonder if they're being targeted. They quickly decide to retreat. A barrage of attacks rains down on the group, forcing them on the defensive. Realizing they're being targeted, they panic and decide to capture the Beast Girl, thinking she's the reason for the assault. The group is suddenly ambushed by powerful lizard monsters. They panic, screaming in fear as the monsters close in on them. Carol hears the commotion caused by the monster attack. She pauses, alert and cautious, trying to figure out what happened nearby. Carol realizes she's taken down many monsters and feels herself growing stronger. She knows Ataru is watching over her from a distance, which gives her the confidence to fight with everything she has. Carol notices her magic weapon is still in perfect shape, even though the knives from Ataru were destroyed. Motivated, she pushes herself to keep fighting, wanting to be useful to Ataru. Ataru finally shifts his focus to the battle, using his unique weapon. The elf woman observes his skills, realizing he's not ordinary. She also thinks that Carol can fight so freely because she trusts Ataru. The elf woman tells Ataru that his monster kill count is way above a normal adventurer's, and confirms his kills are being tracked accurately. She explains the adventurer card system has been improved over centuries, and is now very reliable. Ataru and the elf finish their conversation both satisfied. Suddenly, they hear heavy footsteps approaching, catching their attention. As the ground rumbles, Ataru and the elf realize the noise is coming from the forest. Feeling uneasy, they decide to get back to work and pick up the pace. Sensing something big is about to happen, Ataru and the elf sense a strange discomfort. They quickly realize that instead of calming down, the number of monsters charging from the forest is actually increasing. The elf thanks Ataru for his help. Ataru prepares to support the adventurers by covering them from behind, knowing if the monsters reach the city, it's over. Both get ready to do their part, unsure what will happen next. Ataru opens fire, unleashing a barrage of shots that tear through the approaching monsters, helping hold the line against the stampede. Other adventurers join the fight, using magic and swords to take down the monsters and defend the city together. The adventurers start to get overwhelmed, realizing that no matter how many monsters they defeat, more just keep coming from the forest. Something feels very wrong, and the front lines begin to fall apart. A monstrous creature slowly emerges from the shadows, its clawed hand reaching out as it makes its way into the battle. The top adventurers struggle to hold their ground as the monster rampage grows worse. But soon, they sense another danger emerging from the forest. Something even more mysterious starts to approach, adding to the chaos. The adventurers face an ambush. One of them warns everyone to fall back, but chaos breaks out as enemies attack. In the aftermath, some are hurt, and others rush to help, calling for a medic while trying to keep their injured friends conscious. The group hesitates, unsure if they should retreat. Their leader struggles with the decision, knowing if they fall back, monsters could break through to the city. As the situation gets worse, giant stone monsters suddenly appear, catching everyone off guard. The adventurers freeze in shock as the giant stone monsters suddenly shatter into pieces. Their leader quickly rallies everyone, telling them to stay strong and keep defending their position. The elf steps forward to join the fight, motivating the adventurers around her to show their true strength. The guild prepares to face the threat together. The adventurers are shocked, as the guildmaster, once an S-rank legend, joins the front lines. Even though some doubt she's at her peak, her presence lifts everyone's spirits and gives them hope. The guildmaster calmly steps forward, releasing a powerful energy. She reminds everyone of her true reputation, hinting that she's much more than just a retired adventurer. A wave of magical energy sweeps across the battlefield. Monsters are instantly struck, turning to stone and shattering, showing the overwhelming power unleashed by the guildmaster. The petrified monsters crumble and shatter all over the battlefield, leaving everyone in shock at the sheer force of the guildmaster's attack. Some recognize her true identity and are left speechless by the scene. The guildmaster stuns everyone with her magic, earning cheers from the whole group. Her true title, the Bow Saint and Frost Queen, is revealed, and she warns everyone to step back as she prepares an even bigger spell. The guildmaster starts casting her spell, raising her hand and chanting ancient words. Magic energy glows around her as the ground and enemies begin to tremble, with ice and snowflakes forming in the air. Her power is about to be unleashed. The guildmaster releases a massive ice spell, freezing everything in its path. The attack completely stops the monster stampede, leaving everyone amazed and cheering as the advance is halted. After finishing her big spell, the guildmaster stands calmly as the magic fades away. She thinks to herself that it's been a long time since she last used that spell, but at least it should give everyone a few more hours of safety. The guildmaster stands with her bow, looking calm after using her powerful magic. The adventurers watch her in awe, clearly impressed. She surveys the frozen battlefield from above, making sure everything is under control for now. He watches the frozen battlefield through his scope, impressed by the guildmaster's power. The stampede has finally stopped, but he can't shake off a bad feeling. He notices the adventurers' morale is low and decides they need to keep thinning out the monsters before anything else goes wrong. As shards of ice and stone scatter on the battlefield, the Beast Girl realizes the front lines are getting even more intense. She reminds herself they can't relax now, not even for a second, and she's determined to keep fighting alongside everyone else. The Beast Girl keeps fighting, breaking through the ice and rubble with quick moves. Even as she pushes forward, she feels something strange, like some kind of evil is creeping into her body and bones. She can't quite figure out what's happening, but she keeps her guard up, breathing hard. Ataru watches through his scope and notices Carol moving toward a dangerous area. He thinks to himself that it's a bad move and tries to warn her not to go there. But Carol suddenly freezes, wide-eyed, as a huge monster appears in front of her, catching her off guard. The guildmaster looks at her bleeding hand in shock. She quickly realizes something is off. There's a huge amount of demonic magic in the area, and it's messing with her ice magic field. The interference leaves her visibly worried. The appearance of a new enemy leaves everyone in shock. The adventurers panic and can't believe what they're seeing, while some try to help their fallen allies. The guildmaster instantly realizes the situation is extremely dangerous and thinks to herself how bad things have gotten with a threat like this showing up. A massive demon known for its violence appears, looking ready to destroy everything in its path. Its presence instantly raises the threat level for everyone on the battlefield. The group realizes that the giant demon's magic is what's drawing in so many monsters. Everyone is told to fall back, especially those who are weak to psychic attacks, since the demon is a serious threat if you get too close. Carol trades quick blows with the giant gorilla. She dodges and attacks, but the monster is aggressive and relentless, forcing Carol to pull back a bit after feeling the force of its attack. Carol gets caught off guard by the gorilla's attack and has to jump back. She feels pain in her side, and then something explodes near her, surprising her even more. Ataru, worried, asks if Carol is okay. Carol is surprised to see Ataru and calls out to him, a bit shocked. Carol is exhausted but doesn't have any serious injuries, even though she's way past her limits. Ataru wonders if she pushed herself so hard because of the magic weapon. He tells her she did great and suggests she rest for a bit, saying he's been watching her from the cliff. Carol insists she can still fight. Ataru tells Carol that her body is too exhausted to keep fighting and asks her to trust him. He gives her a direct order to take a break, saying he'd regret it if he let her continue. Carol is left speechless by his concern. Ataru gently pats Carol's head and tells her she fought hard and has done enough. He thanks her for her hard work, saying the team is still doing well thanks to her efforts. Ataru tells Carol he'll take over for a while and asks if she's okay with it. Carol, with tears in her eyes, quietly agrees and tells him to leave it to her. Ataru tells Carol not to worry about him and says he'll be back soon. He suggests that when everything's over, they should go to the Spirit's Lodging Pavilion for some good food. Carol agrees, smiling, and says she's looking forward to it. Ataru waves and says he'll see her later. Carol sits by the tree, thinking about Ataru. She quietly asks him to be careful as he walks away, ready for what's next. Ataru moves quickly toward the front lines, feeling a heavy sense of unease. The feeling gets stronger the closer he gets, even worse than when they fought the Death Wolf. Ataru realizes he needs to use stronger bullets and quickly reloads. Meanwhile, the others shout for everyone to fall back and retreat fast. Franlilfa, looking exhausted, struggles to keep her focus. The gigant demon breaks through the ice, barely slowed down. Franlilfa thinks to herself that her Arctic Purgatory spell works against normal enemies, but it's almost useless against a gigant demon. She realizes she underestimated the situation. Franlilfa tells the others to leave her and retreat to the outer wall. She asks them to gather all able-bodied adventurers. If the front lines break, monsters will invade the city, so she needs their help to evacuate everyone quickly. The group hesitates, but one of them insists they follow her instructions. The group is conflicted about leaving Franlilfa behind, but realizes they would only slow her down if they stayed. They decide to fall back and regroup, asking her to take care of things and telling her to be careful. Franlilfa faces the approaching giant demon alone. Franlilfa realizes no one expected a gigant demon to appear, and the frozen barrier won't last much longer. She knows she can't let the demon pass so easily. Resolute, she prepares to fight, declaring her actions as the Guildmaster of Libre City. Franlilfa unleashes her strongest magic, declaring frozen judgment and wishing the demon to spend eternity in a glacial prison. She's determined to seal the threat with everything she's got. The giant demon charges forward but is trapped by a massive ice attack. The powerful spell holds the demon in place, buying a little more time for everyone. The mage, now exhausted, silently hopes that the city and her companions will be protected while she loses consciousness. The young man catches the mage as she collapses, quickly supporting her before she hits the ground. Ataru arrives just in time, having sensed something was wrong at the front lines. He explains that he already made Karo retreat and quickly figures out that the demon is behind the monster stampede. The mage is surprised but relieved by his presence. The mage is exhausted after using a powerful spell and tells Ataru to fall back and join the other adventurers at the outer wall. Ataru quickly analyzes the situation, thinking about how risky it will be if the wall is breached, especially with so few able fighters left. Both know their next moves could decide everything. Ataru points out that nothing will change unless they deal with the giant demon right there. He asks if the mage could defeat it with a full recovery, and she reassures him she can. Both get ready to face the enemy, determined to end the threat. Ataru gets ready to shoot, telling Framphilia to trust him. Framphilia calmly agrees, allowing him to do what he needs to. Both are focused and prepared for their next move. Against the threat, Framphilia finds herself floating in a magical space, feeling her stamina and magic being restored. The sensation is calming, and her body feels lighter and relaxed as her energy comes back. Framphilia is shocked to realize that she's completely recovered. She looks at Ataru with surprise, wondering just who he really is, as his mysterious actions have restored her strength. Ataru sees that Framphilia is fully recovered. With no time to waste, they get ready to face the giant demon that's still threatening the area. Ataru and Framphilia discuss how to defeat the giant demon. They realize they need to destroy its demon core, which is hidden deep in the demon's tough body, most likely inside the left side of its chest. Finding and reaching it won't be easy. Framphilia remembers fighting a gigant demon before with her old party. Their leader had a legendary weapon, and thanks to his special technique, they barely managed to reach and destroy the demon's core. But it was still a really tough battle. Ataru realizes they can't rely on reinforcements and will have to make do with just the two of them for the fight. Most adventurers have already retreated to hold off other monsters at the outer wall. Even with his best weapons, Ataru thinks it'll be hard to break through the demon's tough skin and hit the core. A group of adventurers returns and offers to help, saying they overheard the plan and didn't need to stay at the wall. Ataru and Framphilia are surprised, but now have a small team ready to assist in the fight. Framphilia thanks the group for their offer, but says it's too risky to fight in their current state. She explains that they'd stand a much better chance against the gigant demon if everyone was fully recovered, making it clear that finding a way to restore their condition is necessary. The group still insists on helping, even offering to act as decoys if needed. Ataru confirms he can help everyone recover, surprising the group. Framphilia asks him to heal everyone, but makes him promise to keep it a secret. Ataru agrees, although he's a bit frustrated about it. The adventurers introduce themselves: Basta, an A rank, Milo, who just made B rank, and Willina, another B rank. They agree to keep Ataru's secret. Ataru then uses his healing bullet skill on the group, restoring their energy in his own unique way. The frozen barrier finally breaks, and the gigant demon bursts free, ready to attack again. The group gathers, ready for battle. Ataru checks if the team can deal enough damage to the demon's tough chest to reach its core, and they confirm they're up for it. The team feels confident and ready to help. Ataru gives Framphilia a task. She needs to keep the demon distracted until they're ready to strike. She agrees, determined to hold its attention for the group. Ataru and Framphilia get ready to face the enemy first, while the rest of the team prepares to move in as soon as they get the signal. Everyone stays alert as the battle is about to begin. Framphilia launches multiple ice spears at the gigant demon and then charges in, slashing at him with her sword. The attack hits directly, catching the demon off guard. Framphilia keeps attacking the gigant demon with precise hits, making him struggle. The group is impressed by her strength and accuracy, seeing why she's the guildmaster. Ataru prepares to shoot from a long distance, surprising the group with his decision to attack from far outside the usual range. The group goes for the final attack against the gigant demon. While everyone gets ready, Ataru positions himself at a distance and fires a special shot from his weapon. The bullet hits the monster's weak spot, causing a big impact and shocking the team. Even as a rookie, Ataru manages to stagger the giant, leaving everyone amazed by his strength. Ataru realizes the demon's wounds are healing fast, probably because of the magic in its demon core. He decides with Framphilia to keep attacking and distracting the demon, while explaining that the only way to defeat it is to destroy the core. Meanwhile, he warns the others to stay out of harm's way. The group narrowly dodges another attack from the gigant demon. Ataru thinks about how the demon is almost fully healed from Franphilia's magic, but he's glad she was healed earlier. He realizes his usual attack won't be enough, but wants to create an opening for the others to strike. Ataru prepares a fire bullet, aiming to break through the demon's defenses and create a chance for his team. The gigant demon starts moving quickly, ready for the next round. The fire bullet hits the gigant demon directly, causing a big explosion and making the demon roar in pain as flames spread across its body. The demon gets hit by a strong punch and is left covered in flames, struggling as the fire keeps burning. The group thinks the flames will slow down its healing. Ataru switches to a thunderbullet and fires at the demon, hitting it with a powerful lightning attack right after the flames. The demon is struck by lightning and convulses in pain, but suddenly seems to prepare for another move, catching Ataru's attention. The group quickly gets back into position as Framphilia moves forward, sword in hand, ready to face the threat. Framphilia is surprised by how much damage a single adventurer could deal to a gigant demon and acknowledges his overwhelming power. Preparing to continue the fight, Framphilia feels a wave of nostalgia fighting alongside her ally, reminding her of her days as an adventurer. Motivated and confident, she thinks they can't lose. The gigant demon, furious and wounded, roars and thrashes around, but refuses to go down. He prepares to keep fighting, even more enraged. The gigant demon charges up a new attack, but is suddenly hit by a barrage of powerful strikes that catch him off guard, stopping him in his tracks. Framphilia faces the gigant demon head-on, stepping through the smoke with determination. The demon, furious and wounded, prepares to clash with her. The gigant demon glares intensely, ready to attack. Ataru and Framphilia stay focused, prepared for the next move. The group reacts with surprise as Ataru takes aim and fires another powerful shot, unleashing his attack with full focus. The demon takes another hit, but still manages to stay on its feet, showing its toughness. Ataru, unfazed, keeps up the pressure, noting how impressive it is that the demon can withstand so many attacks. The gigant demon is hit with another powerful attack, causing an explosion in smoke. The group sees the gigant demon finally collapse after all the attacks. Everyone gets ready, thinking it's their chance to strike. But Basta hesitates as the demon's hand suddenly twitches, hinting it's not over yet. The gigant demon starts regenerating again, getting back up while everyone looks on in shock. The group is frustrated, realizing how unfair the demon's regeneration ability is. The gigant demon stands inside a glowing magic circle, while the elf mage starts chanting a powerful ice spell, calling for the Queen of Ice to grant her strength. The atmosphere gets tense as she prepares to unleash her magic. The mage finishes her chant and unleashes a massive ice spell called Frozen Prison Cage, trapping the gigant demon in thick ice, locking it down and stopping its movements. Huge ice spikes erupt from the ground, pinning the gigant demon in place. The demon is now trapped and immobilized by the spell. Everyone is impressed by the perfect timing of the guildmaster's spell. Ataru thinks it was a bold move to seal the demon from such a close distance, but she says she trusted his power to finish the job. The party recognizes her as a legendary S-rank guildmaster. After the spell ends, Ataru tells the group it's their turn to act. The party gets ready to move, looking determined but also surprised by the responsibility now on them. The group quickly regroups, getting fired up for action. They rally together and prepare to attack, ready to give their all in the fight. With the giant demon forced to kneel, Milo and Willina, both B-rank adventurers, get ready to move in. The team sees this as their chance to use close combat skills while the demon is stuck in place. The group targets the demon's left side, where the demon stone is hidden. As they focus their attacks, something strange starts happening to the demon's arm, catching everyone's attention. Milo quickly moves in to support Basta, ready to cover him while the fight against the demon continues. The team is focused on their coordinated attack. Milo launches a fierce attack, hitting the demon's injured arm with full force. After his strike, he passes the responsibility to Willina, who gets ready to follow up. The team keeps the pressure on the demon. Willina calls out to the Spirit of Thunder, asking for its power. She channels lightning through her staff and launches a strong thunderbolt attack at the demon. Willina's lightning breaks the demon's barrier. The group realizes that lightning magic is effective. After congratulating Milo and Willina, the knight steps forward, ready to take on the demon, now that its defenses are down. The knight grips his sword tightly, charging it with energy as a magic circle forms, signaling a powerful attack is about to be unleashed. The knight unleashes his ultimate move, channeling power through his sword as it glows intensely. Ready to strike with the attack Gladios Meteor, the knight unleashes the full power of his special move, striking with everything he has. His friends watch, knowing this was their big chance. Determined to prove himself as an A-rank adventurer, he goes all in to finish the fight. The knight lands a powerful attack but takes heavy damage himself. His friends rush over, worried and confused about what just happened, checking if he's okay. The sword strikes the demon and sticks into its chest, leaving everyone in shock. The mage girl realizes something unusual is happening with the sword. The group celebrates, thinking they finally defeated the gigant demon after managing to pierce its barrier and skin. But the more experienced members warn them that the battle isn't over yet. The group is shocked as the gigant demon starts moving again, breaking free from the ice. They wonder how it's still alive, even after the sword should have reached the demon stone. The group realizes that the damage they did isn't healing, but something's off. The gigant demon is gathering all its remaining magic. They quickly figure out he's about to release all that energy at once, aiming to destroy everything around him. The situation just got way worse. She realizes that if the demon releases all its energy at once, not just the city, but the entire area will be contaminated and cursed. The land would be uninhabitable for centuries, basically turning into a place overrun by evil where demons can thrive. The guy realizes the demon is way tougher than he expected. While he reloads, the elf girl watches him from behind, looking tense. Both know things just got a lot more serious. The demon stares menacingly, building up power. The main guy focuses, locks his aim on a weak spot, and gets ready to fire, signaling it's time to go for the finishing blow. He fires a precise shot. The bullet hits its target right on the demon's chest, creating a massive burst of energy and light. The demon starts to break apart from the attack. The sword strikes the demon's core, shattering it into pieces with a surge of energy and light. A crack spread all over the core as it completely breaks apart. Everyone finally relaxes as the main characters realize the battle is over. The mood lightens, with Milo and Welina relieved and smiling, while the swordsman looks up in quiet disbelief. The group discusses the leftover magic after the demon's defeat. The protagonist assures the elf woman that it will naturally fade away since they stopped the demon in time. With that, everyone starts to relax, and the mood shifts to relief as they make sure the guildmaster is okay. The elf woman checks if everyone is okay and apologizes for pushing the group so hard, then asks them to rest. They confirm the town is fine. Some monsters got in, but the guards handled it. The main character helps his friend up, apologizes for the broken sword, but the friend says it's no problem and is happy to have helped defeat the demon. Everyone starts to relax a bit after the intense fight. The group checks on each other after the battle. One says they're just hungry, and another wants a bath. They invite the main guy to go back to the city with them, but he says he has to pick up his partner and declines, saying maybe next time. He starts walking off alone, while the others head back. He finds Caro waiting for him. He looks a bit surprised and tells her she shouldn't be moving around yet, asking why she didn't wait, like he said. Caro stands there, looking a bit shy or nervous. As they meet up again, Caro, still out of breath, sees Ataru and runs toward him, calling out to him excitedly. She throws herself into his arms, clearly moved to see him again, and hugs him tightly. Caro cries with relief upon seeing Ataru safe and throws herself into his arms, telling him how happy she is that he's all right. Ataru, relieved, apologizes for leaving her alone and assures her that everything is fine now. As Caro hugs Ataru, the group watches from a distance. One of the adventurers asks the guildmaster who Ataru is, since he's clearly not just an ordinary rookie. The guildmaster, looking toward the city, says that Ataru is just a simple adventurer. She chooses not to reveal anything more about him at that moment. Days after the stampede, the Libre City Guild Hall is crowded with adventurers gathering around the mission board, filled with requests. Caro, once ranked F, is recognized for defeating 43 enemies during the stampede. She receives a special promotion to rank D, surprising everyone with her achievement despite her small frame. Other adventurers, impressed by her results, praise her, and even invite her to join their parties in future quests. Caro humbly admits her achievement was thanks to Ataru's support. Meanwhile, attention shifts to Ataru, who is revealed to have taken second place with 120 kills, leaving others surprised and impressed by his results. Ataru is revealed to be the top performer, having defeated 302 enemies. His overwhelming result earns him a special promotion straight to B rank, shocking everyone with his strength. Ataru and Caro celebrate their success, acknowledging how their teamwork has grown stronger. Both are promoted in rank, filling them with excitement for the wider range of quests they can now take on together. As Ataru and Caro enjoy their promotion, they notice the tense stares from others. Caro realizes the attention is due to their unusually high results, especially Ataru's record surpassing even higher-ranked adventurers. Ataru reflects that he tried not to stand out, but ended up drawing even more suspicion. The guildmaster formally announces Ataru as the victor of the contest, declaring his subjugation record higher than the opposing parties. With the oathbound bet settled, Ataru is officially recognized as the winner. After being declared the victor, Ataru steps forward and calmly asks if the bet can be ended there. Surprising the gathered adventurers with his composed request, Ataru explains that he only accepted the bet on impulse and has no interest in continuing it. He emphasizes that protecting the town from monsters was what truly mattered, not the contest. And his strength is already recognized, he chooses to forfeit the reward, and the guildmaster acknowledges it as his right as the victor. Ataru decides to forego the bet's reward, stating the guild could use the money more. The guildmaster accepts his choice, ordering the pledge to be given to him, while Caro looks on with pride. Ataru receives the official pledge, then tears it apart, showing his decision to abandon the bet completely. The guild hall erupts in cheers, while Caro proudly watches by his side. As the guild begins the payment process, Ataru and Caro prepare to line up, but the guildmaster stops them. She requests both to accompany her to her office, saying there is something important she must discuss with them. In her office, the guildmaster sits with Ataru and Caro to discuss the rewards for the stampede. She assures them that Caro will be compensated like the other adventurers, so there is no issue on that matter. The guildmaster turns the focus to Ataru's reward, pointing out a bigger issue. She reveals that he was the one who defeated the giant demon, the most powerful enemy of the battle, making his case far more complicated than the others. Ataru insists the victory was a team effort, but the guildmaster explains that without him, they would have surely lost. She emphasizes the necessity of rewarding him even more, while clarifying that the others will also be compensated. She further explains that the stampede was the fastest and largest recorded, making the financial burden of proper compensation extremely difficult for the guild. Ataru declines the idea of receiving extra reward money, saying his pride wouldn't allow it. The guildmaster, however, proposes offering him a different form of reward to make up for his contribution. The guildmaster tells Ataru and Karo that what she is about to present is the best offer she can give them in recognition of their achievements at the moment. The guildmaster presents a special item marked with a distinct symbol. Ataru and Karo are surprised upon recognizing it, realizing it represents something significant and rare. The guildmaster reveals the reward, a legendary magic bag with extended storage magic. Karo is amazed, knowing its value is so high, it could equal several large houses. Since proper monetary compensation for defeating the gigant demon isn't possible, the guild offers this rare item to Ataru as an alternative reward. Ataru accepts the magic bag, recognizing it as an invaluable reward for his future adventures. The guildmaster, Franfilia, suddenly blushes, recalling how she originally obtained the bag, leaving her flustered and embarrassed. A mysterious figure descends into a dark underground passage, their footsteps echoing through the stone stairway and halls, hinting at a secretive or hidden agenda. A younger Franfilia is shown exploring the deepest part of a dungeon, reaching what she believes to be the treasure room. Reflecting on the difficulty of the dungeon, she understands why it was considered impregnable. Confident in her success, she believes this achievement will one day help her reach S rank. Young Franfilia discovers the legendary magic bag left behind by the great magician Lucir Nidas. Despite warnings from her friends about the danger, her desire for it overwhelms her, and she secretly takes the treasure without telling anyone. As young Franfilia approaches confidently, a trap is triggered. Chains snap around her, pulling her upside down and leaving her completely restrained, caught off guard by the dungeon's defenses. Franfilia, trapped upside down, feels embarrassed at being caught by such a simple mechanism. She considers freezing the trap to break free, but before she can act, her companions arrive. Worried yet frustrated by her reckless behavior of acting alone without informing them. Still trapped and panicking, Franfilia worries her companions will see her in such an embarrassing state. She casts an ice wall to stall them, hoping to free herself in time. But the situation worsens. Her allies rush in, realizing she must be in trouble, calling out to her with concern. Franfilia's companions finally spot her hanging upside down in the trap. Shocked and amused, they stare while she burns with embarrassment, realizing there's no way to hide her humiliating situation now. Franfilia awkwardly brushes off her past recklessness and shifts the focus back to the magic bag. She explains that, besides extended storage, it also has the rare ability Time Stop, making it an exceptionally valuable and convenient item. Ataru and Karo are astonished by its true potential. Karo excitedly explains how powerful the magic bag truly is, pointing out that, with Time Stop, anything stored inside remains fresh indefinitely. She gives examples like flowers, medicines, or even hot meals that would stay preserved forever. Ataru listens calmly, understanding its usefulness, while Karo is thrilled by its possibilities. Ataru is stunned by how convenient it is, while Karo happily emphasizes just how amazing and useful the bag's ability can be. With everything settled, Ataru officially receives the magic bag, a rare and powerful item. Karo celebrates alongside him, while Franfilia reflects on it as a farewell to a black page of her past. After receiving their rewards, Ataru plans their next steps, suggesting they buy more equipment to prepare for future adventures. Karo happily agrees, excited to move forward. Reflecting on the situation, Ataru considers the magic bag a fair exchange for the gigant demon reward, while Karo is amazed at how much adventurers can earn. As Ataru and Karo walk through the city, a group suddenly calls out to him, demanding his attention. The atmosphere shifts as intimidating figures appear, blocking their path. A battered group of adventurers emerges, shocking Karo and Ataru. Though thought to have been killed during the stampede, they reveal they survived the overwhelming horde of monsters. Declaring their dramatic return from the depths of hell, Ataru questions who the men are, and Karo reminds him they are the D-rank adventurers they had made a bet with before the stampede. Though they claim they came to thank him, their bitterness shows, feeling mocked by Ataru's words as tensions quickly rise. The battered adventurers thank Ataru for tearing up the bet contract, admitting that otherwise, they would have lost everything alongside their injuries. Ataru responds calmly, explaining that the bet was never about money, but simply to raise morale for defending Libre during the stampede. Ataru acknowledges everyone's efforts in defeating the monsters, and explains that canceling the bet allowed all adventurers to benefit from their hard work. The opposing group admits their fault, swearing not to cheat again. while Ataru reminds them it's now their responsibility to stay out of trouble. The townspeople suddenly appear, angrily chasing after the three debt-ridden adventurers, demanding payment for all the money they owe. Panicked, the trio runs off, shouting quick farewells to Ataru and Karo. Watching them flee, Ataru notes that it looks like they won't even get to keep their rewards. Ataru and Karo head to Bob's shop after getting sidetracked. The merchant, Bob, greets them excitedly, already aware of their achievements in the stampede. Eager to help, he promises to provide them with all the equipment they need for their upcoming adventures. Ataru asks Bob for a light short sword for Karo, noticing one with a special aura. Bob explains it was crafted by a famous blacksmith with enhanced sharpness, but it can only be sold to someone able to see its aura. Karo, feeling nostalgic when looking at it, resonates with the sword due to her beast woman nature. Meanwhile, she also requests a replacement for the knife she had broken. Ataru asks Karo if monster stampedes are common. She explains that they are actually very rare, especially in this case, where demons deliberately targeted the city, something unusual. Events of that scale usually only happen once every few hundred years, even in a large country like theirs. Ataru asks, when the last monster stampede occurred. Karo explains that the guild doesn't release detailed records, and old texts make it hard to determine exact dates. She says demons are believed to come from the demon world, the homeland of the demon race. However, since its location is unknown and unreachable, people consider it a cursed place tied to misfortune. Ataru reflects on the possibility that the demon world might be another dimension, thinking about the chaos demons would cause if they appeared randomly. Karo, looking serious, admits that without Ataru, the guildmaster, Basta, and other A-rankers, the damage from the stampede would have been much worse. She seems troubled, which makes Ataru ask if something is wrong. Karo feels frustrated and regrets not being able to fight until the end, blaming her lack of strength and skill with magic weapons. She wishes she could have been more helpful to Ataru. However, Ataru reassures her, telling her not to be so hard on herself and expressing that he's more than pleased she kept their promise, gently patting her head to comfort her. Ataru reminds Karo of the deal they made before the monster stampede to stay safe and not get hurt badly enough to need a healing bullet. Karo confirms she kept her promise, and Ataru reassures her that he also fulfilled his part by returning safely. He tells her there's no need to regret what they couldn't do, only to be proud of what they did accomplish. For now, keeping their promises is more than enough, and it will lead to even more in the future. Ataru tells Karo that most of the things they want to achieve can't be done right away, but there's no need to rush. He suggests they work to improve step by step. Karo, smiling brightly, asks if that's a promise. Ataru confirms it, and she happily accepts, believing in him. Ataru encourages Karo, telling her he has full faith in her success, and asks her to cheer up. Overcome with emotion, Karo blushes deeply. Later, Ataru proceeds with the purchase, selecting 2 swords and 3 knives, assuring Bob he will handle the payment himself. Ataru and Karo arrive in front of a large gated estate. Karo realizes this is the place Ataru mentioned wanting to visit. Unsure, she guesses it might be a noble's residence, while Ataru confirms they are indeed at the right location. Ataru and Karo arrive at the gate of a noble estate, where the guards are shocked to see him and quickly recognize his name. Ataru politely explains he is on an errand and asks if it's possible to meet with Grandal. The guards, under prior orders, allow him passage and instruct him to proceed carefully. While Karo looks on in surprise at how easily they were granted entry, Ataru and Karo walk through the noble estate's beautifully maintained gardens, admiring its vastness and care. Karo asks if Ataru visits often, and he explains this is only his second time there, the first being before he met her. As they continue, Ataru notices someone approaching, saying, "Here they come." Ataru and Karo are warmly welcomed at the grand estate. The Lord of Libre City, Grain, greets Ataru with enthusiasm, expressing how long they've waited for him, and how glad he is to see him in good health. Ataru acknowledges him, while Karo seems surprised by the introduction. They are invited inside, told to make themselves at home, as Grain mentions hearing about Ataru's registration as an adventurer with the guild. Ashna runs up excitedly, calling out Ataru's name with a flushed and eager expression. She reveals that they've been waiting for him, her enthusiasm surprising Karo. Grain apologizes for her outburst, explaining that his daughter had been looking forward to Ataru's visit for a long time. The group welcomes Ataru warmly, acknowledging the fierce battle of the stampede. They mention the many wounded adventurers that had been brought in, showing the severity of the fight. Despite the chaos and difficulty of gathering accurate information during the turmoil, they affirm that they had faith in Ataru's ability to protect the city. Ashna adds that everyone had been worried about him, Ataru reassures the Lord that he's grateful for the support and the previous reward, which allowed him to prepare well. He apologizes for causing them worry, while the Lord expresses relief at seeing him in good health. When the Lord insists on rewarding him again, even ordering Gilles to prepare 5 times the previous amount, Ataru firmly clarifies that he's not there to ask for more money. He explains they already have enough from their own rewards, combined with what was given before. Ashina warmly thanks Ataru for protecting the city of Libre and expresses her happiness that he came to see them again. She admits she worried he had forgotten about her, but his visit makes her extremely happy. Ataru apologizes for taking so long to return, but she reassures him that it's all right. He, in turn, tells her he's glad to see her again as well. Ashina notices Karo beside Ataru and learns she is his traveling companion. Ataru recalls how Ashina had supported him when he first arrived, acknowledging that her help allowed him to meet Karo and continue his journey. Karo nervously introduces herself as Ataru's servant, worried about not knowing the proper etiquette. Despite her shyness, her greeting is warmly accepted, easing the atmosphere with lightheartedness. Karo is warmly introduced to Grain, the Lord of Libre City, along with his daughter Ashina and the butler Gilles. Grain expresses gratitude for Ataru, saving his family, and extends the same respect and welcome to Karo, treating her as an honored guest. Ashina hesitates for a moment, showing signs of nervousness, but then invites Ataru and Karo to follow her. Ataru agrees to accept the invitation, and Karo quickly follows his lead. The group gathers in a formal room to discuss recent events. Concern grows as it is confirmed that the rumor of a gigant demon's appearance was true, though an even more pressing matter is hinted at. The nobles are shocked to learn that Ataru was the one who defeated the gigant demon. While he downplays his role by insisting it was a group effort with the guildmaster and A-rank adventurers, they remain astonished. His rapid promotion to B rank further emphasizes his extraordinary achievements, leaving everyone deeply impressed. Akara's promotion to D rank is acknowledged as an impressive feat, especially since it's rare for someone of her background to advance in the adventurer ranks. The Lord reflects on his own past as an adventurer, admitting that hearing of such achievements stirs strong emotions. Though his time as an adventurer was short-lived, the importance of adventurer ranks is explained. Advancing in rank allows access to more difficult quests, higher rewards, and opportunities unavailable through ordinary means. Beyond honor, rank serves as a path for social advancement, opening doors to nobles and royalty, granting influence, wealth, and recognition. It marks both growing trust from leaders and the steady rise of fame and power. Ataru reflects on the risks of taking certain requests, noting that it could create problems or appear as if they were trying to gain favor with nobles or royals. Kara wonders about penalties for refusal, but it's explained that adventurers are free to accept or reject quests, aside from rare mandatory ones. Ultimately, the spirit of an adventurer lies in their willingness to take challenges, a mindset praised by those around them. The guilds were first formed as cooperative organizations between nations, but conflicts with governments caused issues for common people. To resolve this, one man stood up and secured independence for the guilds, later becoming known as the Grand Guild Master. With that, adventurers gained freedom from political control, and their title came to symbolize unwavering purpose. From then on, neither nobles, royalty, nor nations could easily challenge the guild's authority. The group discussed how the guild's legacy had become legendary, known even to children. Each guildmaster inherited the symbol of freedom, a mark of their independence and ideals. Ataru reflected on the meaning of such a title, thinking that Friendphilia embodied that spirit perfectly. As the conversation shifted, someone prepared to address Ataru directly. Ashina noticed Karo's hair was tangled and offered to fix it. With Ataru's approval, she invited Karo to her room. Karo, surprised but agreeing, followed Ashina as she was momentarily borrowed away. Ataru reflected that it was a good time to talk, while Grain and Gilles hoped Karo and Ashina would grow closer. Soon after, Ataru was told there was something important he needed to know about their future adventures. Karo sat nervously while Ashina began brushing her hair, trying to calm her down by telling her to relax. Though flustered, Karo agreed to try and ease her nerves. Ashina complimented Karo's hair, comparing it to clear water as she brushed it gently. Karo blushed, flustered by the praise, but then froze up in embarrassment, struggling with how to react. Ashina suddenly embraced Karo from behind, leaving her surprised and speechless, unsure of how to react to the unexpected closeness. Karo was overwhelmed and flustered by Ashina's sudden hug, her mind spinning in confusion as she tried to process the unexpected situation. A flashback shows Ashina as a child, nervously approached by other kids who invited her to play. Despite her shyness, she accepted their offer with a hesitant smile, holding the ball tightly as she joined them. As a child, Ashna was reminded of her duties as the daughter of the Granay family. Though she wanted to play with the other kids, her caretaker insisted she uphold her status and focus on her lessons. Smiling obediently, Ashna agreed and returned home for her piano practice. Inside the carriage, young Ashna gazed out the window, watching other children laughing and playing together. Seeing their joy, she clutched her dress tightly, hiding the sadness of not being able to join them because of her strict upbringing. Ashna and Karo, both flustered after the sudden hug, struggled to calm themselves. Ashna was embarrassed by her impulsive action, while Karo, equally shaken, tried to reassure her despite her own nervousness. Ashna suddenly coughed and admitted she had trouble breathing, which worried Karo. After regaining her composure, Ashna apologized sincerely for hugging Karo so abruptly, admitting she didn't even understand why she acted that way. Ashna confessed that when she first saw Karo, she felt an immediate admiration for her dignified and fearless presence, despite her small stature. She admitted she was dazzled by Karo's appearance and realized she wanted to be her friend, explaining that her sudden hug came from those deep feelings she hadn't fully recognized before. Ashna, embarrassed and ashamed, admitted she had never been as close with her other friends as she felt with Karo, realizing she had lost a sense of distance, only with her. Karo was surprised but deeply moved, expressing that she never imagined Ashna thought of her that way, and that it made her truly happy. Karo, blushing, assured Ashna that she understood her feelings and encouraged her to act freely. Ashna, moved by her words, looked at her with teary eyes, overwhelmed by emotion. Ashna, torn by her emotions, tried to push Karo away, saying she couldn't burden her anymore. But Karo, with determination in her eyes, begged her to believe that it wasn't a bother, pleading for her not to shut her out. Ashna held Karo gently, realizing she was nothing like the adventurer she had first imagined. Instead, she found her soft, kind, and gentle. Overwhelmed, she admitted Karo's beauty, leaving Karo flustered yet grateful, quietly thanking her. Karo rested in Ashna's embrace, feeling an unexpected warmth and peace. The sensation stirred a nostalgic memory within her, as if recalling something long forgotten, leaving her quietly lost in the moment. Karo recalled a distant memory of being held tenderly by her mother, who called her their most beloved daughter and precious treasure, wishing her eternal happiness. Karo, overwhelmed by emotions and tears, clung tightly to Ashna. Ashna gently called her name and embraced her, offering silent comfort in that vulnerable moment. Ashna and Karo, both eager, asked Ataru if Karo could stay at Ashna's house for the night. Ataru agreed, and Grain went further, offering for Karo to stay as long as she wished, showing their warm acceptance. Karo and Ashna were overjoyed. That night, under the moonlight, Karo and Ashna slept peacefully beside each other, their bond now stronger. Meanwhile, Ataru lay awake in his own bed, quietly reflecting on the day's events. Ataru suddenly woke up in an unfamiliar place. Though he remembered falling asleep at Grain's mansion, he now found himself in a room splattered with dark stains. Sitting in shock, as confusion gripped him. Startled and confused, Ataru realized he was no longer in the mansion. Before him appeared a mysterious old man, laughing eerily, who revealed himself as the so-called god that Ataru had once encountered. Ataru, unsettled by the strange place, wondered if he had been returned to where he was stabbed. The old man explained it was only a reflection of Ataru's jumbled memories from when he was summoned. Revealing he had been watching Ataru's accomplishments, the man, claiming to be the one who had given him his rifle, hinted that he had summoned him for an important reason. Ataru was offered the chance to create a new weapon. He reflected on the limitations of his rifle, realizing it was effective for long-range battles, but not suited for close combat. Because of that, he considered this unique opportunity to be very helpful. Ataru thought about the disadvantage of fighting in close quarters, where his rifle was ineffective against monsters. The god, who had been experimenting with different types of guns, presented him with a new weapon, offering a solution more suited for such battles. The god introduced a magical handgun to Ataru, explaining that it could fire infinite bullets, but was restricted to a cartridge of 9 magic rounds. Once emptied, the gun could be reloaded through a spell, balancing its power with Ataru's unique fighting style. The god explained that the handgun could use different types of cartridges, such as healing or fire, allowing for versatile combat preparation. He emphasized the satisfying action of reloading, presenting the weapon as the perfect choice for Ataru. Ataru considered the handgun carefully, acknowledging the cartridge system wasn't bad. However, instead of accepting it outright, he recommended a double-action revolver as his preferred choice. Ataru explained his idea of a double-action revolver, but when the god grew overly excited, he dismissed it and suggested continuing the discussion another time. The god, however, encouraged him to take his time, reassuring that this space had no effect on the outside world, and that he would support him until the end. Ataru woke up and realized his encounter with the god wasn't a dream. Noticing a case beside him, he understood it contained the new weapon granted to him, impressed by how quickly the god acted. As Ataru and Karo prepared to leave the mansion, they were warmly seen off. Though Ashna's father invited them to stay longer, Ataru explained that lingering might make it hard to depart. Ashna apologized for being selfish, but was allowed to say her goodbyes, as her family acknowledged that adventurers must keep moving forward. Karo expressed her gratitude to Ashna, Gilles, and Grain for their kindness and warm hospitality. She respectfully bid them farewell, hoping to meet again and wishing for everyone's well-being before departing. As the group prepared to leave, Karo showed her gratitude, admitting she was nervous, but inspired by Ashna. Grain encouraged her to remain a good friend to Ashna and to support Ataru with confidence. He warmly invited them to visit again anytime, leaving Karo determined to carry those words in her heart. Karo expressed her excitement about learning more and accepted Gilles' offer to teach her proper manners. Ashna shared how much she enjoyed hearing about Karo's adventures, feeling as if she lived them herself. Before parting, Ashna asked Karo to promise they would remain friends, urging her to visit again and stay safe. Karo promised Ashna that she would definitely return for another visit. Meanwhile, Ashna, moved by the bond forming between them, looked at Ataru and quietly wished that someday she too could stand by his side. Ataru and his companions prepared to leave the mansion. Ashna warmly wished them safety and expressed her hope to see them again, while Ataru assured her they would return. With farewells exchanged, the group set off on their journey once more. As they left the mansion, Ataru explained that Graina had asked them to escort someone to a town called Galaria. Before that, however, he mentioned there was something important they needed to take care of first, sparking curiosity from his companions. Ataru explained that he was referring to the magic dagger used in past battles, such as against the Death Wolf and during the Stampede. Karo confirmed she had examined the weapon and realized it possessed far greater power and abilities than expected. While Ataru was using it correctly, continuing to rely on it in its current state could actually expose him to unnecessary danger.